For this last lesson in Unit 3, we're going to be putting everything together. We're actually going to solve absolute value, which we did in the last lesson, and now they're going to be inequalities like we've been doing all along. So hold on, this is going to be a lot, but we're going to get through it and you're going to be an expert by the end. So we've got absolute values, now with inequalities, and we're going to bring back those compound inequalities. And we really want to focus on why this works using distance on a number line. Remember from the last lesson, difference of a variable from the starting point for an absolute value is the distance from that starting point. So for example, if we have x plus 3 equals 4, it means that we started at -3, and that's because it was a difference. So difference means subtract. So if I've got a plus 3, it means I subtracted a -3. So it takes a little bit of thinking. Just remember, it's always the opposite. Then it means that we move 4 in both directions on the number line. So we looked at this in the last lesson. If I start at -3, so I'll put an X there. If I move 4 units to the right, I get 1, 2, 3, 4. I end up at +1. And if I move 4 units to the left, I end up at -7. So that's why absolute values always have 2 solutions. Next, we're going to apply this to an absolute value inequality. So we can see that if we write a description of this using that difference, using that definition of an absolute value, it says write a description, all real numbers that are less than 3 units, because that's the distance away from +2. So if we graph the endpoint, so let's do what we did above. So if I start at 2, when I move to the right, I end up at 5. I'm going to have an open circle here because there's no equal sign. When I move to the left, I end up at -1 with an open circle. This next part is going to be a new concept for many of you, to make a true-false table. Now, I don't want you to panic. This is not something you're going to have to do on your homework. This is just something I'm going to use to prove a point. So what I want you to do here is we want to figure out where to shade, because this is an inequality after all. So we do need to shade our graph here. So I'm asking you here, do you need to shade on the right, on the left side of our endpoint? Do we need to shade in between our endpoints, or do we need to shade to the right of our endpoints? So what I'm going to do is pick a value in each of those 3 areas and test them out. I think the first point I'm going to pick is somewhere in the left here. So let's pick something easy like -2. It's not very big, so that should be pretty easy. And so I'm going to put -2 here. And what I'm thinking about, right, is replacing this x with a -2. So let's just think about that. That'll be -4. The absolute value of -4 is +4. Is +4 less than 3? And that is not true. That's false. So I'm just going to put an F there for false. In between -1 and 5, I've got 0. Zeros are always easy, so I'm going to pick that. If I substituted a 0 in here, you would see that I'm going to get 0 minus 2, which would give me -2. Absolute value of -2 is +2, and that is true. It is less than 3. So +2 is less than 3. And for the final one, I think I'll just pick 6. If I substitute 6 in here, I get 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 is not less than 3, so that would make a false statement. What this is telling me is that anything less than -1 is false, so I would not shade there. anything between -1 and 5 would be true. So 0 represented all the numbers in here. So I'm going to shade from -1 to 5. And finally, anything above 5, like the 6, would be false. So I would not shade there. And we can see what just happened here. This creates a rule. Anytime we start with a less than absolute value, it becomes an and. We learned in the last lesson that whenever we shade in between 2 points, that's an and inequality. And we can write that in the condensed version here. So this is -1 is less than the x's that are in between, which is less than 5. And that's my final answer. Let's do the same process again, a little faster, but this time with a greater than instead of a less than. So let's write out the description, all real numbers that are greater than, it looks like 4 units this time, away from -1. And the reason it's -1 is right here. Remember, that's always supposed to be a difference. So it's going to, since there's not a subtraction there, then that must mean we're actually subtracting a negative. So I'm going to start at -1. If I move 4 units to the right, I end up at 3. If I move 4 units to the left, I end up at -5. I need to pick my 3 values that represent the 3 areas. Even though I can't see it here, I do know that -6 is less than -5. So I'm going to use that to represent this area. Then in the middle, I can see that I've got that nice 0, so I'm going to pick it. And then on the right-hand side, I think I'll pick 5. 5 is always a nice, easy number. All right, so once again, I'm going to substitute those numbers in here. So -6 plus 1 would give me -5. The absolute value of -5 is 5, and 5 is greater than 4. So that is true. And doing that again with the 0, substitute the 0. So 1 is not greater than 4. So that would be false. And finally, substituting the 5 in here, I get 6. 6 is greater than 4. So that is true. So that means for my shading, I'm going to shade anything less than 5. So these are the true areas, and greater than 3. So I'm hoping you can remember just a little bit that if it's shaded on the outside, that starts with an O, so this creates an OR. So what this means is we actually have a rule here, that if you start with a greater than absolute value inequality, you're going to create an OR, compound inequality. So we have to write that as 2 separate inequalities. X is less than -5, or X is greater than 3. Putting that all together is what we're going to do in the next lesson. I just want you to have the biggest idea here are these 2 rules. If it's greater than, you're going to end up with an OR. If it's less than, you're going to end up with an AND.